Joining us next on this edition of Futbol Americas, New Jersey native Pellegrino Matarazzo, who's going into his fourth season in charge of Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. And just as importantly for us here on the show, this is, I don't know if it's his fourth, I think it's your third appearance on Futbol Americas. So Pellegrino, welcome back. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You look very well rested. You look full of color. What is an off-season like for a Bundesliga coach? Because it looks like you've enjoyed it.
Well, I don't think it's just the off-season that's giving me this color. We've been spending a lot of hours on the pitch, and it's been hot here in Germany. So, but the off-season was surely the first couple of weeks. You know, you reflect the season, you think about what happened and what you want to do better. You start planning the next season. So there's a lot of thoughts going on, processes involved with staff, with leaders of the club, and then you, of course, there's a couple of weeks where you get the rest. Where I spent with my family at the beach, which was very nice. And then preseason starts up again sooner than you expect. But then you're rip-raring, ready to go, and you start. But the color's from my time in the pitch and not from vacation.
We saw those videos last year. Who was that and where was that? Tell us a little bit about that, because people were really excited to see how excited your family was at the results there at the end of the season.
Yeah, they get together almost, actually every game in my brother's garage in Bergen County. And sometimes friends come over. They get a pretty decent crowd going. They call it the arena. And I think everyone saw the flags and all the memorabilia just posted or hung up on the walls, and they just go crazy. You know, and it's nice to see. Every once in a while, my family sends me one or two clips of a goal, their celebration, which is a nice feeling to know and to see that they're very connected to the game and being a part of it.
On this show, we talk a lot about the idea of promotion and relegation, and even as how it might pertain in the future to American soccer. I got to be honest, I'm a proponent of at least the idea and exploring it a little bit. But I think that's as somebody who's not had to live through it and suffer through a relegation battle. Having gone through that now, the real threat of relegation, how do you feel about promotion and relegation? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
I think it's, for the fans, it's a very, very good thing. I think, these things just stay very, the tension remains. And there's a word in German called Spannung, which I think fits very well. Just very, very exciting. You know, it's, of course, the relegation battles or just fighting against relegation is very stressful for coaches and for teams, but it keeps the league very interesting. And the experiences that we had, a lot of the guys on the team, and also my experience was the first time we went through something like that, and it's pretty intense. You know, it's just waking up every day thinking about the next game, the next day, the next minute, like what to do, what to give the team, which either gives them energy or gives them stability. Very intense process, and something very special about it.
What are your expectations for the campaign coming up? You know, it's been two kind of different seasons in the Bundesliga for you. Where do you set the bar for this year?
We're going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, like we did last year. I think the guys are how do you say, ausstrahlen? They're exuding, I think is the word. Exuding, yeah. A certain, like a focus, which is a different focus that we had last season, a readiness, a sharpness, which I like, which makes me very, very optimistic about the season coming up. The guys are working hard and putting in the hours, the minutes that we need to be ready for this season. I think very as important is always the beginning of the season, how you start the first couple games, to gain stability, to gain self-confidence, to grow, to have that Bestätigung, confirmation that you're good enough, that you're on the right path, and that what you've worked for was for a reason. And so I think the beginning of the season is always very, very important, especially for a young team. And look forward to a good start, and then see what happens. But the goal is, of course, to stay in the league. That's not going to change.
Pellegrino, as we look big picture kind of at the Bundesliga season, the elephant in the room, of course, is Bayern Munich. Do you feel like the league this season maybe might be catching up to the giants of German football?
We have other very interesting clubs in the Bundesliga, which I'm sure will be very competitive with Borussia Dortmund, with Bayer Leverkusen, RB Leipzig. I think there will be one or two maybe surprises that are trying to make a run for it for a Champions League spot. I think Bayern Munich does have the best roster. Will be feeling a little pressure this year, and they have a very good coach. So if I had to bet on who's going to be German champion, it's going to be Bayern Munich again this year. Yeah.
Of course, we got the World Cup in the middle of the season. I wonder how that affects your preparations and just kind of the Bundesliga in general. It's this huge event in the middle of the season, something we've never had before, to this level.
It's I'm about learning as you go, and making good decisions and thought through decisions. For us, it's more about how are we going to deal with the break. How many weeks are we going to give off? We're actually coming to the States. I don't know if it's official. I think it's official. We're going to be for a week in Austin from the 14th to the 21st. Playing a friendly match in Austin, and after that we'll be giving the guys a couple of weeks off, and then you think about how to deal with preparation. Do you give the guys a week off during Christmas or not, for the guys that live overseas to be home with their families? So it's you think about things and you make decisions and how to best prepare for the second half of the season to come.
What do you think of the group that the U.S. has drawn, and just how excited are you to see this team in Qatar?
Of course, I'm very excited always to see the U.S. team and how they do. I think they have a lot of potential. I read every once in a while things about the U.S. team well in the World Cup when it's on our own soil, but we have a good team now and a lot of potential. So I'm really excited to see what they can do, and of course, you always hope for them to come as far as possible and hope for the best.
All right, that's a ways down the road. More importantly, right in the near future, we have the Bundesliga opener against Leipzig. You mentioned how important a good start to the season is. What's the big key there to get 3 points in your opener?
Leipzig's a very, very good team with very good individual players who put a lot of focus on control. They like to control the game through like a compact defense, not always high press, just closing down spaces with a good counterattack game. They with their possession, they don't have a very high direct speed, which means they don't go immediately to goal, but kind of try to break down the opponent and create numbers up in certain situations, and they have the skill to do that as well, which means we need to be very, very focused. Defensively, be patient defensively, wait for the moment to win balls, and with certain speed players that we have also on the pitch to use our counterattack moments. And there's, I don't want to say too much before the game. I never do. I never communicate my match plan just because I don't know who's listening. I don't know if Domenico Tedesco's listening or not. But of course, there's spaces that open up when we have possession that we want to utilize with speed and hoping to score 1 or 2 goals and hoping for a win.
You got fans in Stuttgart. You got fans in the arena in Bergen, New Jersey. You got fans here on Futbol Americas. Pellegrino Matarazzo, thank you so much. We'll be rooting for you all season. Hope you have you back here on the show again soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.